I am Alana Smith.
I'm Janice Jones.
And today we are gathered to honor the legacy of the Thomas I. Atkins Living-Learning Center, which continues to shape student leadership, community, and excellence. This journey, which began 30 years ago, has been fueled by the vision of the first African-American student body president of Indiana University, and the dedication of countless students, staff, and faculty. To kick off today's celebration, we'll begin by setting the tone of why so many students are excited to be part of Atkins LLC's legacy. Our first presentation will be a video featuring two students, David Young and Promise Ewers? Sorry if I said that wrong, who will share their enthusiasm for being part of this incredible community. Let's take a look.
Atkins LLC at Forest is this living learning center that is connected to the Triple ADS department, the African and African American Diaspora Studies department. On this floor, there's a lot of people who either have Triple ADS minors, majoring in that, or have an interest in ethnic studies or Black studies. Overall, the floor is for anybody who's interested in cultural enrichment at IU.
So I think the benefit of having a community like Atkins is when you're on campus and you're walking around, you're going to your classes, you might not see a bunch of students who look like you on campus. So when you can come back and have that community and see people who look like you and live with people who look like you and converse and not feel like you have to change yourself, I think that really is the importance of Atkins. It just gives Black students and other students as well a safe place in a community for them to go to and reside in, especially when they might not see people who look like them on campus.
I thought it was just the perfect space for me to start getting ready to learn about Triple ADS as a department and just overall meeting other people who are interested and have similar interests to me.
The Atkins LLC requires students to take classes within the Triple ADS program. It actually really does help you push for a minor. The thing about Atkins is we have a lot of connections within the Triple ADS program. Our own director is the director of the Triple ADS program, so it opens up a lot of different connections.
We do a lot of floor things together. We have monthly meetings and we talk about the goals we had accomplished that month. We have events where we decorate the lounge area depending on the holiday season.
Everybody really does have a connection with each other. I can honestly name every single person on my floor and I probably talk to them on a numerous amount of occasions. You have that direct connection with your assistant director and then your director in general. And those people really do help you and they pour into you. A lot of different LLCs, especially Atkins, has committees and executive positions.
It's very just chill floor. I feel I don't think I could have expected any better, honestly. I think I'm very happy of the place I chose. So.
Atkins has been an amazing experience for me. As soon as I had my first day on campus and I really got to meet the people on my floor, it was 100% determined that I wanted to be on Atkins. Ultimately, Atkins is a really good resource for people. If you're thinking that you want a community of people who look like you, who you feel are comfortable around, who you can have that connection with, Atkins is the perfect place for you to be.
What an inspiring video. It's clear that the spirit of Atkins LLC is alive and well. Its impact continues to resonate with students like David and Promise. Now it's my pleasure to welcome someone who has been instrumental in guiding Atkins LLC for many years. He has been a deep commitment to leadership, community, and academic success of Atkins students. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Jacoby Williams, Director of Atkins LLC, Chair of African American and African Diaspora Studies.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. All right, that's a greeting I like to hear. So welcome to Thomas I. Atkins Living-Learning Center's 30th celebration. It is a true honor to stand before you today as we recognize and commemorate 3 decades, I say that again, 3 decades of resilience, scholarship, and unwavering commitment to academic excellence and social responsibility. The Atkins Living-Learning Center is a collaboration between the Department of African American and African Diaspora Studies, Triple ADS, the College of Arts and Sciences, and residential programs and services. Do we still use RPS as a residential life? With groups, and also with the support of the Group Scholars Program and the 21st Century Scholars Offices, and the Atkins LLC is open to any IU student interested in leadership development by engaging in the study of African American history and culture. Now, with that said, however, the Thomas I. Atkins Living-Learning Center is more than just a place. It is a movement, a home, a legacy. It is the only Afrocentric, unapologetically Black living learning center in the nation that's directly connected to the African American Studies Department. I say again, the only Afrocentric, unapologetically Black living learning community center, research center, and student-centered center connected to a Department of African American Studies in the nation. Now, despite the continuous efforts of state and national elected officials to erase institutions that value diversity, equity, and inclusion, I stand here before you today to say boldly and loudly, say it with me, we ain't going nowhere.
We ain't going nowhere.
And we won't be erased. All right. Now, since its founding in 1994, the Atkins LLC has remained steadfast in its mission to cultivate academic achievement, foster leadership, promote community service, and celebrate the richness of African American history and culture. Again, we ain't going nowhere. I can't hear you. We ain't going nowhere. And we won't be erased. Named after the trailblazing Thomas I. Atkins, Indiana University's first Black student body president, Atkins LLC carries forward this spirit and leadership and activism. And as the first African-American student body president at a Big Ten university as well, Thomas Atkins set a precedent for excellence, advocacy, and transformation. His legacy, our foundation, and today we honor those seeds that he planted many, many, many years ago. Now, the Atkins LLC, again, is more than a residence hall. We call it a village, a family, a unit. It is a hub of intellectual growth, cultural engagement, and leadership development. And here, we don't just study African American history and culture, that means we live it. Why? We ain't going nowhere. I don't hear you. And won't be erased. All right now. We prepare our students not only to navigate the world, but to change it. And through rigorous AAAD courses like A113 and A150, through leadership training, mentorship, and other forms of programming, we equip Akanites with the tools they need to challenge injustice and create a future where access and opportunity are the norm, not the exception. Now, in addition to all that, we very much care about excellence and academic excellence leadership, but we equally care about the student experience. That's also important to us. So at Atkins and AAADS, as a whole, as a unit, we foster, first and foremost, intellectualism. And intellectualism is all about the opportunity to grow the mind and learn how to apply knowledge gained from those courses and extracurricular activities into the real world. This includes networking, participating in career fairs, engaging in leadership training, interacting in the community, establishing relationships with mentors at all the various levels, and engaging in high academic performance. Why? Because we ain't going nowhere. And now we also engage in social engagement. These are activities that are designed to build relationships and confidence, to communicate across cultures and boundaries. Interactions that happen at these cultural and sporting and academic events are essential training for Akanites to grow in this way. Because we ain't going nowhere. And we also foster cultural interactions. These help to provide students with cultural literacy, skills necessary to live in an increasingly diverse, global, and international world. Our students from all these cultural backgrounds are welcome and encouraged to apply and live on our floor in the Atkins Village and to participate in our programs through attendance of all the numerous educational trips, showcases, and workshops they provide, because we ain't going nowhere. And now, to our current Atkins students, our future leaders, as I like to call you all, know that you stand in a long and powerful legacy on this campus. Black students like Thomas Atkins and today's keynote speaker, Dr. Keith Parker, these gentlemen walked through fire of turbulence and exclusion to create momentum for those who will follow up after them. Now, each generation of Atkins students and Black students on this campus built upon that momentum. So first, those two gentlemen and others during that period did the walking through those times. The subsequent generations did the running through those turbulent white supremacist ideas of exclusions and ostracism and so forth and so on. Then in the following generation, leaped obstacles, right? They went from running with that momentum to jumping over obstacles. Now, it's your turn. So don't just hurdle those obstacles, kick down those damn doors. Kick them down so that generations after you don't have to fight for a seat at the table. Instead, they can sit and fester in the opportunities and access that you made possible by your activism and your contribution to students today. Why? All right. Now, to our elders in the room, there's many of you. I want to thank you all of you who made Atkins a reality. We honor you. To our alums, welcome back home to the village that shaped you. To our current students, our faculty, our administrators, and the entire IU community, we thank you as well for standing with us, for celebrating with us, and for committing to the legacy of Black excellence on this campus. Welcome to the Atkins Living-Learning Center's 30-year celebration. Welcome. Let's together celebrate our past, embrace our present, and build on our future again together. Why? All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Williams, for that warm welcome and for your continued leadership in shaping Atkins LLC into the community that it is today. Next, we are honored to have Dr. Vicka Bell Robinson, who is an advocate for belonging and student involvement here at IU. She plays a critical role in fostering an environment where every student feels supported. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Bell Robinson, Associate Vice Provost for Involvement and Belonging.
That's hard to follow. I'm just like, why they got me going second? Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Vicka Bell Robinson, and I have the pleasure and privilege of serving as the Associate Vice Provost for Involvement and Belonging in the Office of Student Life. And I bring you greetings from the Office of Student Life, our Vice Provost, Dr. Lamar Hilton, who is in the room, our Associate Vice Provost and Dean of Students, Kathy Adams-Reister, who's in the room, Terry Hill, who's our Director of Development in the room, and of course, IU Housing, which is now the new name for RPS. So IU Housing sits in Student Life, and I have the privilege of serving as the leader, one of the leaders in that group. Also, Denise Gowan, who is representing Residence Life, is in the room. So it is a true honor to stand before you today as we celebrate this remarkable 30-year milestone in the history of the Atkins Living-Learning Center. Tonight is not only a celebration of the years gone by, but also a moment to reflect on the power of this community and the incredible legacy that has been built across this campus together. At Atkins is more than just a residence hall. It's a living learning center grounded in the pursuit of academic excellence, leadership, and most importantly, the celebration of African American history and culture. This is a space where we come together to learn, grow, and support one another through the journey of becoming thinkers, creators, and leaders that our world needs. In light of the current climate, particularly with the rise of anti-DEI legislation across our country, it is especially important to pause and acknowledge the role that Atkins plays, that we all play, in fostering a culture of inclusion, care, and belonging. Despite the efforts to stifle these important conversations, we continue to create spaces that uplift marginalized voices, celebrate diversity, and foster the kind of intellectual and social growth that leads to real change. At Atkins, we understand that the fight for equality and justice is ongoing. We also understand that the very essence of our community, the emphasis on leadership, the study of and expression of African American culture, and the spirit of collaboration attends to a powerful counter narrative to those who seek to divide us. While external forces may try to disrupt the progress that we've made, we remain unshaken. We are grounded in the values of community, integrity, learning, partnership, and people-first approach. These values are not just words to us, they are the foundation of everything we do. Our commitment to these ideas is even more important now as we continue to stand for a future where every individual, no matter their background, no matter their race, can come and thrive. Atkins is a place where excellence is not just encouraged but celebrated. It is a place where students from all walks of life come together to contribute to the whole and leave lasting impact on the world around them on this campus. How many of you are Atkins, where are my Atkins alums? And how many of you lead organizations or people? Same hands up, right? Atkins is a place where we build a foundation of leadership on this campus. We believe that this is why committees are important. This is why, whether you're in an academic committee or the sisterhood or brotherhood circles or the hospitality committee, those experiences that students have in Atkins lead them to lead the campus. So whether you are a faculty member, an alum, or a staff member, you are a part of the community that has always risen above adversity, that has always found strength through diversity, and that will always be rooted in the belief that the world can and must be better for all of us. As we celebrate tonight, we do not do so with just pride in our past, but with great hope, y'all. Great hope, because what? Absolutely. We remain steadfast in our mission to foster leadership, to create opportunities for growth, and to encourage a deeper understanding of the world around us. The very spirit of leadership and intellectual freedom that defines Atkins will continue to flourish, and it is up to each of us to move it forward. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to welcome you tonight, and I'll turn it back over to our moderator.
Thank you, Dr. Bill Robinson, for your heartfelt words and your ongoing work in creating a campus where all students can thrive. Now we return into a special reflection for Atkins LLC alumnus who has continued to make an impact long after his time here at IU. Ramir Williams is a 2015-2017 Atkins alum. Ramir Williams is an alum of Indiana University with a bachelor's degree in sports communication broadcast, a master's in athletic admissions and management. He is currently pursuing a PhD in sports management at the IU School of Public Health and sport with a minor in educational leadership and policy. In addition to his studies, Ramir serves a visiting lecturer in kinesiology, teaching courses on diversity, organizational behavior, and history in sport. Outside of the classroom, Ramir has been a dedicated mentor and played a key role in student organizations, including the George Telefaro Sport Association and Indiana University Sports Business Conference. He has a commitment to leadership and extends his work on various boards at the committees at IU. His academic and professional journey is a testament of power and leadership in community. Please join me in welcoming Ramir Williams.
All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. No, I was raised in the Baptist church, and I heard this half of the room. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you so much. My name is Ramir Williams. I'm a fourth-year doctoral student here at Indiana University. August 21st of 2025 will mark 10 years that I've been here, and also will mark 10 years since I first stepped onto the Atkins Living-Learning Center. And funny story, I wasn't supposed to be on Atkins. I was supposed to be living in Wright Quad with no air. But I was pushed actually by Mr. Cedric Harris, who had mentioned something into one of our Sunday housekeeping meetings from groups 15, best classes, Grace's campus, that we had a living learning center and an opportunity to study Black history on this campus, and I was like, I need to get out of Wright. So that's where I had the opportunity to meet and speak with Mr. Isom about an opportunity to live on the floor, and I begged him, I said, please save me. But having the opportunity to go into Atkins, Mr. Isom directly challenged me as soon as I stepped onto the floor to go into leadership. I ran and became the president of the floor. And I ran based upon having the sense, we've talked about community and what it means to be a village, right? I consider Atkins not only to be a floor, to be a community, to be a village, but also to be, as Dr. Williams said, to be a movement, right? A lot of the initiatives and things that have happened over the course of the last 10 years stemmed from Atkins. So for me specifically, my journey into leadership started with Atkins. And it all started specifically from going to Miss Nancy's house and having some of the best brownies that any person has ever had in the state of Indiana. And as I have not been to her house in 8 years, I can still imagine what her brownies still taste like. But living on that floor came with its challenges, but definitely came with its rewards. It was very, very rewarding for me to live on that floor. I actually lived on Atkins for 3 years. So I was the president my freshman year. And we know financial incentive allows us to remain in places that we need to. So I got a scholarship to stay my sophomore year to be a mentor to the incoming freshman class. And I interviewed and ultimately becoming the RA for Atkins my junior year. And I remember going to New York and riding on the 13-hour bus ride with Cedric. And Cedric telling us some stories about things that he's done over the course of his time at IU, and how Cedric has been impactful, not only just with groups, but with, as we know, RPS, now IU Housing, but it was a lot of those individuals through Atkins that really pushed me to really want to be a servant leader here on campus. So after leaving Atkins, as I continue to reflect upon my time, I wanted to make sure that the young boy who stepped onto Atkins, not knowing what college would be, that I could be the shoulders that other people could stand on to continue to have an impact. So I made sure that I dedicated myself to not only assisting students of color, but students who are in need, right? We're in a time right now to where we have to continue to want to love on one another, right? Love will defeat all. So Atkins specifically, and I have a quick story. Atkins for me, and specifically my freshman year, were some of the best friends that I have ever had. And still to this day, there are 30 of us that still talk to each other from that floor. We actually got together after we left from our housekeeping meeting in spring break. And 30 of us actually took a trip to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and went to the cabins out there and visited. And in having that community again, and building lifelong friends, and me and joining a fraternity in that fraternity are still some of my lifelong friends and roommates that I've had since high school, and doing things as well. Atkins has really centered my Indiana University experience. So whenever I tell someone, well, who are you? Where have you been? What creates your experience? Atkins is the foundation that has built that experience. So in the midst of who I am, right, I knew that I wanted to always continue to reach higher. I remember as Mr. Isom was our director at the time, who was also our professor of the Atkins class at the time as well. I had a meeting with him, a leadership meeting with him, and then 30 minutes later he would go into being my professor, so it was always confusing between the two. But Mr. Isom always would challenge us to do more, right? And in trying to achieve more and pursuing my PhD, in which I will be the first in my immediate family, my extended family, to have achieved a terminal degree. Having that opportunity to do that, and it's stemming from Atkins, right? It really, really means so much to me. So as I wrap up, because I know I'm very long-winded and I can go very long, but I know that we are on a time schedule. Again, Atkins is a village. It is a community. It is a movement. It is one of the things that I believe Thomas I. Atkins, when he was here, and how his drive to do the things that he did, he knew that his efforts would not be erased. And I know that in him being the person that he was, I wanted to aspire to be someone similar to him in the efforts that I did, so that we may look 40 or 50 years down the line and somebody might say, oh yeah, Ramir Williams was this student. He was this person. He was a doctoral student who was also a visiting faculty member in sport management. He is this person who has consulted and served on Indiana University boards while holding 3 different job positions, right? All of that directly stems from that little boy who stepped onto the Atkins Living-Learning Center. So thank you for the opportunity to build my foundation in Atkins. And to those in my village, thank you for continuing to support me in helping me to be able to have the influence that I have been able to have on the students that I directly impact. So again, thank you.
Thank you, Ramir, for sharing your journey with us. Your dedication to leadership and your continued contributions to the IU community are truly inspiring. Next, we have a special presentation from the Atkins LLC committees. These committees represent the heart of our community, working tirelessly to create meaningful opportunities for growth and engagement. Each committee will introduce themselves and share their work and highlight the ways they, along with their committee members, contribute to the mission of Atkins LLC. Let's begin with the academic committee.
Hello, my name is Terrence Ampey, and I'm Vice President, and my major is media.
And hello, everyone. My name is Promise, and my major is social work, and I am the president. The academic committee focuses on the development of the academic activities for the Atkins LLC community. These activities are designed to foster academic excellence and engage members in a deeper understanding of their studies.
Next, we'll hear from the TRIPS committee.
Hello, my name is Tyson Coe, and I'm a political science major on the pre-law track. I'm also a part of the TRIPS committee, where we're responsible for planning educational trips to enhance learning experiences and promote community dialogue on the floor.
Up next is the Showcase Committee.
Hello, I'm Selah Henry. I'm on the pre-Kelly track. I'm an artist and entrepreneur, and the Showcase Committee is responsible for organizing activities like the Atkins Evening Talent Show and the Atkins Academic Morning Showcase to nurture creative expression. Not only that, but I have a few pieces of art to show you. Okay, so here's my art. Here's one. You guys can follow me on Instagram at Selah, S-E-L-A-H, the artist with underscores. All right, and I'm selling these today too. So, yes, it's Selah, S-E-L-A-H, underscore the underscore artist. I'm selling these, so come up.
Now let's hear from the Hospitality Committee.
Hello all, my name is Briasia Johnson and my major is social work and I am a part of the Hospitality Committee and what we do, we organize parties and gatherings with food and games to foster unity and a strong relationship among Atkins members.
Up next is the Sisterhood Circle.
Hi everyone, my name is Kalia King and my major is psychology. For this academic school year, I am the head of the Sisterhood Circle, which serves the purpose of bringing the women together on the floor and teaching them how to support one another by listening to their voices on many issues and also caring about their encounters, especially the negative ones. The Sisterhood Circle also discuss how to support the men on the floor. Thank you.
And now the Brotherhood Circle.
Hello everyone, my name is Jesus, and my major is comprehensive design. Jesus Quinteros, my bad. And I am the part of the Brotherhood Circle, and our purpose is to bring the men on the floor together and to teach them how to support each other by listening to the voices as well as the issues, and as well as to care about their encounters, the negative ones. And the Brotherhood Circle also discusses how to support the women on the floor.
We also have an executive council. The executive council is an elective body consisting of the president, the vice president, a secretary, a treasurer, a governor, and a historian who documents activities and decisions for the Atkins LLC community. This group serves as the leadership structure that guides the LLC's operations and decision-making processes. Finally, we have the Media and Communications Committee.
Hello, I'm Zachary Jabian. I'm a freshman here at IU, and my major is informatics, and I am in the Forest LLC with.
Hi, my name is Sierra Robinson, and my major is management and human organizations, and I'm also part of the social media committee. Thank you all to the committee members for your hard work and dedication. Your contributions help shape Atkins LLC into that dynamic community we see today. Every day we face the challenge of being misunderstood, navigating the biases of those who don't live with us, and choose not to truly know us. Yet, through it all, we stand strong in who we are, lifting each other up and keeping our spirits high. Just like Dr. Williams says, like you said. What do you say? No, wait, redo it. Let's redo that. Let's redo that. We ain't going nowhere.
Don't knock your legs.
Okay. This video is a testament to our community, perseverance, and ability to find humor in our experience. It's a bit dramatic, but all in good fun. So let's take a look at the life on the Atkins floor. Hope you guys enjoy.
Why are you recording me? Oh, I forgot I was supposed to be recording for the social media chair. Let me get like 5 more minutes though.
They say home is where the heart is, but what if that home is also a place where the fire alarm randomly goes off throughout the day, the Wi-Fi is questionable, and sometimes your neighbors sound like WWE wrestlers? Hi, my name is Sierra Robinson, and I'm a part of the social media chair. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you an inside scoop of what Atkins really is. But first, it's time for me to get to class, because I am running kind of late, so let's go.
She's never on time. I'm Ashley. I am the instructor for AAAB 150. This is a class you can take to meet your requirement for being on Atkins,
But how are you gonna meet your requirement if you're never here? Like, don't you live in the same building as the class is being held in? That's what I thought. I was under the impression, but you know, do what you gotta do, girl.
With living on this floor, you have the opportunity to take 2 triple ADS classes that gives you the opportunity to learn more about Black culture, history, and rebellion.
2 classes?
It's not that bad, I promise.
I actually wasn't aware we were taking 2 classes, but despite it all, I've actually learned a lot.
First semester, I took A113, which was a foundational course for Atkins. I learned about Black history here in Indiana and specifically at IU Bloomington. This semester, I'm taking A150, which is still about Black history, but primarily about how we overcame these challenges and our success.
It really seems like nobody in this town knows how to eat.
So, living at Atkins, where do I begin? First of all, moving in, a whole struggle. I thought I was prepared, but nothing could have prepared me for hauling all of my stuff up here. Then there's the people. Listen, I have met some of the funniest and most interesting characters here. It's basically like living in a reality show that nobody signed up for.
Anyways, let's get back to it.
CC on the beat. CC has a serious rapping problem. He tried to have an intervention, but apparently it didn't work.
Soon after.
I don't know why she always feel the need to embarrass us in public. Like, okay.
I know she's my roommate, my ride or die. It gets the point though. It really gets the point. And that scene, it was set up.
I get it. Having so much aura can be overwhelming at times, but who else is going to bring entertainment to the floor? This is why I do what I do. I know my people. But anyways, let's go. Atkins is perceived as the ghetto floor, loud and crazy, but in reality, we're all here just having a good time. Atkins isn't just a place where we live, it's a place where friendships are made and memories are created. And I hope it continues to stay that way.
I was just showing them this parlay real quick, but this camera just walked in. When I first got here, I didn't know how it was gonna be, but I figured out really quick, it's easy to make friends, especially with people around me who are like-minded and come from similar type of backgrounds as me. But being on Atkins has also helped me build connections with people that aren't my peers too. Mr. McMillan that came in, I got his number and stuff, and that's a connection I'll have. One of the first friends I made was Tabani, actually, and we had some similar interests like playing basketball and 2K and stuff, so we just fed off of that, and then our relationship got stronger from there.
I chose to move on Atkins because I knew I was coming to this PWI, and I just knew there wasn't gonna be a lot of Black people. So then when my homie Calvin told me about it, he was like, it's a great way to connect with my peers and stuff, like Jay Rich right here. I met Jay Rich on the floor, but just because we down on the floor, that doesn't mean we don't do other things together. Sometimes we'll all walk to the village pantry together, parties together, keep each other in check in real life, make sure we ain't doing dumb stuff.
My name is AK, and I don't live here, but every time I come to Atkins, Jared and Javon make me feel at home.
Overall, Atkins has been a great experience for me. But the sounds, if you know, you know. It could be dead silent at 2 a.m. Then out of nowhere you hear bam. Somebody's blasting music like it's the club. But through it all, Atkins has been home. Late night talks, random side quests, let's get food trips, and maybe even the shared trauma of hearing Sierra, aka me, rap battle somebody randomly at 3 a.m. I just want to take the time to say thank you to Whitney and Dr. Williams for making this floor very comfortable to live on and providing us with all the resources and things that we need to thrive on this floor. Your dedication to making this floor great is not unnoticed. I appreciate you, and everybody else on the floor appreciates you as well. And to everyone else who's lived here, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you guys more than you know. Thank you for the memories we shared and all the laughs and the late night debris so we get all the tea. And to the future Atkins residents, I just want to say, may your Wi-Fi be strong, your fire alarms be silent, and for your neighbors to be at least semi-normal. Thank you guys for watching, and until next time, bye.
On the count of 3, we're gonna say, wait, okay, it's corner. What you gonna say? 1, 2, 3. Atkins.
special thank you goes out to all of the committees for their contributions to the floor and building our community. Thank you to Sierra for putting together that video. Now, Now, it's my honor to introduce our keynote speaker, someone who has made a lasting impact on Indiana University and beyond. Mr. Keith S. Parker was the second African American elected as IU student body president on March 19, 1970. His administration focused on student advocacy on a range of issues while building programs to enhance quality of life for students by funding the Student Legal Services Program, daycare centers, and food cooperatives. In November 1970, he traveled to North Vietnam as a member of the People's Peace Treaty delegation, a student-to-student effort against the war in Vietnam. In 1993, IU student government established the Parker Powell Scholarship for Student Activism, which has been awarded for many years until funding ran out. Keith has recently re-endowed the scholarship to provide support for students who are making a difference on the Bloomington campus. In 2017, Keith retired from UCLA as Assistant Vice Chancellor, Government and Community Relations. In this capacity, he managed UCLA's interface with elected officials at all levels of government and also served on numerous community and civic boards in Los Angeles. Currently, Keith is a city commissioner serving on the Los Angeles Civil and Human Rights Commission. Please join me in welcoming Keith Parker.
Good afternoon, everybody. Listen, that was a very, very nice introduction. At some point I said, wonder who she's talking about. You know, I am very happy and humbled to be here with you. I'm happy because looking at this room, I feel fulfilled. You know, looking at this room, seeing these young faces, these bright faces, and seeing some veteran faces as well, I feel fulfilled because we've come together as a community to celebrate the Atkins Center. This is like, you know, I don't want to be 18 again, but if I was, I'd want to be an Atkins person. You know, this wasn't here when I was here at Indiana University, and what I think about, my relationship to the institution was certainly not like what I think yours is. I'm of a generation where I felt we succeeded in spite of this university, not because of it. You are a generation, you can look back and say, because of the things that happened for me at Indiana University, I'm going to succeed. I have succeeded. And that's a very different feeling. I didn't have a close connection to IU for a lot of years after I left. In fact, there were several, what will I call them, interesting stories about me being dead. They said I had died in a police shootout. They said I had gone to Jonestown, Guyana, and I drank some of the Kool-Aid with Jim Jones. And then it got a little better because I only died in a plane crash. Well, every time I would come back to Bloomington, I would say, I didn't die, I just moved to California. And so my relationship has changed. And I think about the, can we do, Whitney, can we put up slides? I think about leadership lessons that I've learned along the way in my career. Okay, we can't go that dark because then I can't see what I'm talking about. I think about leadership lessons that I've learned along the way because I had a 46-year career. In 1968, I organized the first Black student union at what was then IUPUI. In 1970, 55 years ago, I got elected the second student body president. My 46-year career has all been in public education. I worked in K-12 and I worked in higher education. I managed departments and programs both as an employee, as a volunteer, and as an advocate. So I want to reflect on some of the lessons I've learned along the way and some of the people that have inspired me. My definition of leadership is the act of making a difference. Not thinking about making a difference, not planning about making a difference, but doing something that makes a difference. And so it's the act of making a difference. And we know that effective leaders are typically visionary, communicative, they are honest, they are ethical, they are decisive, and they are accountable. Well, let's think about some leadership we've seen in this country today. I don't think he's hitting on any of those cylinders. But if we are going to be successful and effective leaders, we've got to have that as a basis. We've got to have a vision. We've got to be accountable. We've got to be honest. We've got to be ethical. And most of all, we've got to be committed. If we are committed, we're going to accomplish things. Oh, this would be better. Thank you so much, Tim. So, thinking about that as a context, there are people in our history, and for the Atkins scholars, I don't have to tell you who some of these people are. There are people in our history that have also inspired me, and I think set a tone for what leadership is for us. I'm going to start with W.E.B. Du Bois. He was the first black PhD from Harvard, founder of the NAACP, Crisis Magazine, and he said that the problem of the 20th century will be the race line. He was talking, be the color line, I'm sorry. He was talking about race. And so when you think about race as an existential issue of the 20th century, it certainly has continued to be in the 21st century. At this moment, not only are we dealing with the attacks on DEI programs, but attacks on affirmative action, attacks on LGBTQ and trans and women's reproductive rights. It's an attack on all of those things that we fought so long and so hard to make a difference with. Now, I'm a brown baby. Brown not just because of my color, but brown because I went to school, kindergarten, in September of 1954. Why is that important? Brown versus Board of Education decision. You know, I was blessed that my father was on the school board in Pontiac, Michigan, and he introduced a resolution that said, based on the Supreme Court's decision in Brown versus Board of Education, our district should desegregate. And the decision said, with all deliberate speed, he meant that that deliberate speed is now. And he convinced his board to agree with him. A lot of you have family members who lived in cities, lived in states where deliberate speed hadn't come yet. But I was fortunate because I had that opportunity to go to a different set of schools than my brothers did. Du Bois believed in a talented 10th. He said, we need an intellectual powerhouse of our young people and older people to be that elite leadership that's going to help us address the issues of coming out of slavery, out of Reconstruction, and into segregation. We need a talented 10th. That's who all of you are in the Atkins program. You are our talented 10th. And you are sort of that tip of that agent of change. I think about when Dr. Carter G. Woodson established Black History Month. Dr. Carter G. Woodson was the second African American to get a PhD from Harvard. And I'm not pumping Harvard by any means, but that really meant something because they were going to an elite institution, not to make money, but to make a difference for their people. That's an important thing. He said that real education is a means to inspire people to not just live abundantly, but to begin with life as they find it and make it better. And so again, what leadership is that act of doing something that makes that difference. And that's what Dr. Carter G. Woodson tried to do. And I think about his emphasis on education. Now, I wish he picked a longer month than February for Black History Month, because 28 days is not enough. And we all say that Black history isn't just a month, isn't just a visit. Black history is history that we all experience. When Barack Obama was running for president in 2008. He said, change will not come if we wait for someone else, for some other time. He said, we are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. Well, I believe if you had talked to me in 1970, I would have said the same thing. We are the people. This is our time. These are our issues. We've got to make a difference. And I'm sure Frederick Douglass said that in 1868. And I'm sure each generation says those kinds of words, that we can't wait for other people. We've got to do it ourselves. We've got to make it happen. And so these are your words. These are words for your generation, that you're not going to wait for other people. You're going to make that change now. I think about in my life, and I take this quote from Kamala Harris, there's so many other people in my life who have opened doors for me, who have made a difference for me, who have provided opportunities for me. I came from Los Angeles on a cold day, emphasize that, it was 16 degrees when I woke up this morning. I haven't been in 16-degree weather in probably 50 years. But I came because even though I didn't know Tom Atkins, and I only spoke to him briefly one time, and he sent me a note when I got elected, and I didn't know his health struggles that he had toward the end of his life, I knew that Tom Atkins was the first. And you want to be the first, but you don't want to be the last. And Tom Atkins wasn't the last. You know, 10 years later, I had an opportunity. And so I know I had to come back to IU to speak to your group here today. And then when I found out, and I worked 36 years at UCLA, when I found out that Dr. Williams was a UCLA alum, that was another hook for me, because I can't let a Bruin down. And I'm sorry, but UCLA paid me for 36 years and pays me in my retirement. They're on that check every month I get. I'm kind of a Bruin at heart. I love the Hoosiers, but you know, I'm a Bruin, and you all beat us to death like we stole something this year in football. Not mad at you. But I knew that I had a responsibility to come back and be a part of this, because people did these things for me. I wish I had an Atkins Living Center when I was a student here. I'd have been a much better student. I'd have been much more disciplined. I'd have been much more informed. And I think I had a very good network, but it would have been a better network of people, because all of you have a chance to not only know each other and learn from each other, but you have a chance to bond with each other. And those bonds, I think someone described that, those bonds last forever. That's a gift. My mother always said there's nothing worse than an ungrateful heart. Be grateful for what you are getting here. Now, I wasn't a donor to Indiana University for a long time, because again, my relationship, when I left IU, I wasn't getting many hugs, okay? And I never forget a truck driver, Johnny Stancombe, came up to me one day and he gave me a card. And the card said, "Help integration now. Take an inward home for lunch."
Wow.
Okay? I remember Johnny Stancombe to this day. I know he's hopefully he's passed along, but I remember that experience was not an unlikely experience in that time. The fact that the Klan used to put an ad in the Bloomington Herald Tribune, "Welcome back Indiana University students, noble knights of the Ku Klux Klan." So I know people gave me opportunities. People opened doors for me. And I have a debt to those people. And part of my repayment of the debt I owe them is I'm here today with you. You have a debt now too. You have a debt to repay to a lot of folks that came before you, just as I did. And you have an opportunity to indebt others in the future by keeping the doors open. So when Dr. Williams said, "We ain't going no place," now that's a T-shirt. That in my generation, that's a slogan. That's a battle cry. That's something that when he said that, it made my heart move. Because those are the words of our ancestors. We aren't going to go anywhere, and we're not going to be erased. That's what got our ancestors through this experience. So you have a debt, pay it forward. Make sure that you're doing the kinds of things that will make your life better and the lives of your family and the lives of your community. Frederick Douglass said, and I use this quote all the time, "Power conceives nothing without demand upon it. It never has, it never will. If there is no struggle, there is no progress." And so struggle is important. And leadership doesn't just mean making a speech. Leadership means making a difference. Leadership means that suggestion at the critical moment. Leadership means listening to others and articulating a message from that. Leadership means including, involving, organizing. Sitting in rooms like this, but also sitting in small rooms with each other. That's leadership. And that's the leadership development that all of us need. It's the leadership development that I certainly had. And I didn't win every argument. I wasn't always right, but I was always engaged. And I was always ready to listen to other people who were committed and sincere like I was. And then there were those that weren't. And my job, I thought, was to try to convince them, to try to move them along. Now, some of the most overt voices of racism have quieted down, and we have a period where we were struggling, but we were moving forward. Well, those voices have picked up now. They're not as quiet. They're very clear that they see the existence of a lot of us as being a threat and dangerous to their status quo. Well, that's not going to stop us. Again, as Brother Williams said, we're not going anywhere. That's not going to stop us. And so power is never going to concede without demand upon it. It's up to us to make that a difference and make it a difference that we can sustain. Shirley Chisholm, who was the first black woman to run for president in 1968, congresswoman from New York, she said, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. And I say that because you belong here. You belong here. Don't let anybody ever tell you you don't belong here. One of the things that especially black students experience is someone else telling them, well, you didn't get here because of your abilities. You got here because of, and they come up with other kinds of reasons. No, not just no, but hell no. You belong here. You have a place here. And you never give that up. And you make sure, again, you're not going to let others not have a place here. And so bring a chair if you have to. I've walked into meetings I didn't belong in, and I made a point. You got to hear what I got to say. I'm a part of this community. When Michelle Obama said, if you're afraid to use your voice, then get up from the table. Don't take up space if you're not going to be an active participant. If you're not going to be committed to a set of issues that are going to advance change. If you're not going to do that, then get up and let somebody else sit at that table. And again, you don't have to fight every fight, but you got to fight. You're not going to win every fight, but you got to fight. Leadership is being able to pick yourself up off the floor if you get knocked down. You know, I think of a story that they tell about Thomas Edison. He was trying to figure out what is the right filament metal for a light bulb. And he struggled finding the right one. And someone said to him, well, how could you do that? How could you take that? You failed 100 times before you found the right filament. Edison said, I didn't fail, I was learning. And so from our failures, we can learn. And we're going to have failures. You know, I'd like to win every argument. I'd like to win every issue. But realistically, I know I can't be as good as, I've got to be better than. Okay, I'm going to say that again. I cannot be as good as, I've got to be better than. And if you ask any of your faculty, your black faculty professors, you ask staff that are managers, you ask staff that are workers, you ask your parents, you ask them their experiences, they will tell you, by and large, I wasn't as good as, I was better than. That's how I got to the table, that's how I stayed at the table, that's how ultimately I ran that table. So, if you have a voice, you gotta use it. Rosa Parks wouldn't give up her seat on the bus. It would have been an easy thing to do. She'd probably done it before. But she got to the point where she said, no, it's enough. And so she didn't give up her seat on the bus. And it sparked the civil rights movement in the 1960s. And so doing the right thing comes with consequences. It comes with costs. It comes with that psychic, if you will, that psychic energy that you have to dispel because you're swimming against the tide. You're climbing uphill. Well, in today's world, that tide got a lot stronger, that hill got a lot higher, but we still have to do it because it's the right thing to do. And Dr. King said, the time is always right to do what's right. And so having a community like this, you have a support base that says, we can. Not we might, not we hope, but we can. You have that positive reinforcement. And so when you fall, when you fail, when you don't succeed in the way you want to, you've got people around you that can say, let's try this time. Let's think about another way. Let's put together a different plan. But we can still do this. I did that as a student. I did that as a bureaucrat. I did that as a member of my community on boards, community organizations. We didn't always succeed, but we never gave up. Because what we were doing, what we were believing in, was something bigger than we were. I think about, again, a lot of times, Malcolm X, and his message about adversity is not the end of our world. A lot of times you say, I'm in a hole and I can't get out of that hole. Well, yes, you can. You can get out of that hole. He says adversity is a way that, can improve your performance the next time. Think about if our people had given up on Middle Passage and just jumped in the ocean and said, I don't want to live. Well, a lot of us wouldn't be here today. Those are our ancestors. Think about our ancestors that lived through slavery. My father's grandmother, it's a story that's in my family. My father's grandmother said, I was this high when freedom came. She didn't know how old she was, but she knew she was this high when freedom came. Think about those words. In my family, it is always said so much because that's my father's grandmother. That's 3 generations from me. That's 3 generations from me. But our community needs us not to give up. It needs us to be better, to be stronger, to be smarter. And that was John Lewis's message that I learned about good trouble. Yeah. Now, if you would ask people about my time at IU, they wouldn't necessarily call it good trouble. They say, oh no, Keith was a hellraiser. But isn't that guy dead? They would tell you those kinds of things probably about me in some way. I remember meetings I had where not only was I was the only black person in the room, I was the only student in the room, and I was only let in the room because of the position I was in. And I'm sure if I had, there have been 4 African-American student body presidents since me. And in fact, the most recent one, Aaliyah, was a young woman last year. Aaliyah Raji? Yes. Last year. I talked to her while she was going through some struggles in the spring. And I wanted to reinforce with her, not only that, I support her, support some of the decisions, but that I can feel what you're feeling. Because you're swimming against the tide, you're holding on, you're trying to keep it together on a personal level, while at the same time you're trying to represent student interests. And so, that's good trouble. And that's what John Lewis talked about. John Lewis was one of the architects of the March on Washington. John Lewis was an early head of Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC. John Lewis was a member of Congress for a long, long time. He was called the conscience of the Congress. John Lewis took a beating on the bridge at Selma. John Lewis, his level of leadership, his commitment to nonviolence, his values, his beliefs, those are things that allowed him to take the punishment that came, but enabled him to go forward and create what he called good trouble, necessary trouble. Maya Angelou said that when you find what you love, and it isn't just money, she said, pursue the things that you love doing, and then do them so well, people can't take their eyes off of you. Well, I looked at this room, I looked around at the students here, I listened to the students here. Again, it inspires me, it makes my heart soar, because you are excelling, and it shows in what you are, who you are, how you go about your business. The video was a little beyond me, because that's not my generation, that's not my music. Okay? I don't have an Instagram. Where's the sister with the Instagram? Okay, I don't have an Instagram, I don't have Twitter. I do have an email address. Okay? And I do get text messages. But I'm not of that generation. I'm a generation that I gotta sit across the table and interact with you. I gotta talk to you, I gotta see you. But your generation has found other ways to communicate, and I'm not criticizing that. You say, wait a minute, let me get it right. I'm going to do this with intentionality. Okay? I said I'm going to do it. You say, being in this space. Okay, well, I'm here. We talked about, and Nancy here can remember this. We talked about being relevant. Is that relevant? I'm with that. I remember that. And you probably have those kinds of terms that you use as well. The point is, we may be using different language, but we're having the same meaning, the same impact. I make a distinction between jobs and work. Jobs are what they pay me to do. Work is what I believe in. The best jobs I've had are the jobs I would have done whether they paid me or not. That's true. That's true. The best jobs I had were the jobs I would have done whether they paid me or not. Now, I had some jobs where they had to pay me, okay? But work is something that sustains you. Work is something you have a passion about. Work is something you'll go the extra mile. And you'll get up, fly from 70-degree weather in Los Angeles to 60-degree weather in Bloomington. This is work for me because I believe in you. This isn't a job for me. Dr. Williams offered me an honorary, and I said, give it back to your program. You can't pay me, excuse me, you can't pay me to come to you. I can't take your money to come to you because this is an extension of the work I believe in, the work that I've always done. And one of my most profound experiences in my life, I went to South Africa in 2013, and I went to Robben Island, and I went to Nelson Mandela's cell. And standing there, my bed was almost bigger than his cell. 27 years he was in prison. The idea was not to kill him, but to break his spirit and break his influence on people in South Africa. It didn't succeed. Because Mandela believed what counts in life is not the mere fact we've lived, it is what differences we have made in the lives of others will determine the significance of the life we lead. So you never really know when you make a difference in someone else's life. It's a suggestion. It's a helping hand. It's pointing them in the right direction. It's making them feel they're okay. When I left IU, I went back to see my third grade teacher, Mrs. Bessie Dawes. And I told Mrs. Dawes I was proud of having graduated, and I wanted to see her because she had not only taught me to read well, but taught me to enjoy reading. And Mrs. Dawes looked at me and she said, "Now tell me your name one more time." It wasn't important that she didn't remember me. What was important, I remembered the impact she had upon me. I remembered what she did that changed my life. That's the kind of leadership where we can make a difference in people, whether we know it or not. And so, I didn't know Tom Atkins, but I knew of Tom Atkins. People followed me. They didn't know me, but they knew of me. Hopefully a couple good things. I know what my father meant to me, but I never met my grandfather. Grandfather was dead before I was born, but I knew of him. You don't know me, but after today you know of me, and you know of a message I've left with you. And you may think about it now, you may think about it 10 years from now, but you'll say, there was some guy from California who came in cold weather to be with us and complained about the cold weather. Well, hell, you were in Indiana, what'd you expect? But you will think about, people in your life that have made a difference, and they may not be important people. I put icons in my slides, but I could have put brothers off the block. I could have put people out when I had a factory job, people I worked with in the factory that said things to me that are still significant to this day. I think about not only people above me theoretically, but people beside me and people below me, all of whom taught me something that I could use, something that I could learn from. Now, one thing I have to acknowledge is that I have more yesterdays than I have tomorrows. And hopefully, you have more tomorrows than you have yesterdays. The question for both of us is, what do we do with our tomorrows? How do we use those tomorrows to help others? To, again, improve ourselves, improve our families, improve our communities. What do those tomorrows mean for us? And Harriet Tubman, who was a leading black abolitionist, she was the leading person on the Underground Railroad. She was concerned and advocated not only for black people, but for women's rights. Harriet Tubman said, always remember you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach to the stars and change the world. This very humble woman who was a slave, who escaped slavery, this very humble woman who fought side by side with Union soldiers, who risked her life to go back into the South and bring people north to freedom, believed she could change the world. And she changed her world. And we can still change our world. And so, a quote from a guy that I really like, he said, if you can believe it, after you have conceived it, you then can achieve it. And so there's nothing that you can dream that you cannot accomplish. There's nothing that you can dream that you cannot accomplish. You got to believe in yourself. You got to build a base around you. You got to find it within yourself to be committed to it. You've got to be that effective leader. You got to care about something more than yourself, something bigger than yourself, something that makes a difference. There's nothing you can dream that you cannot accomplish. So, Indiana University, Atkins Living Center, brothers and sisters, friends and allies, family members, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Can I take a couple of questions?
Yeah.
Couple of, questions, just a couple of questions. Couple of answers? Give me answers. We don't have questions. Yes.
So what advice would you give to this generation about activating, right? And what could activism look like in 2025?
Okay. Now, I've admitted to you all I'm old. Okay? And old people are great at giving advice to other people. But you gotta listen to your own heart. You gotta listen to your own mind. I ignored a lot of good advice, but I came back and recognized it. So you gotta listen to yourself, you gotta listen to to those people you respect. You gotta listen and you gotta develop. That's why I say you gotta conceive that vision for yourself. You gotta believe in it, and then you can achieve it. If I was sitting in your chairs, I would be thinking about, we've got to organize against the attack on DEI, the attack on affirmative action, the attack on women's rights, on gay rights, on trans rights. We got to fight back. We cannot just take it. We cannot just take it. And while in one way, I would certainly be in front of Brian Hall hollering, okay? Because that's what I did. That may not be the right strategy today, but you've got to have a strategy of resistance.
Yeah.
We cannot just take it. And so, again, I love Dr. Williams saying, we ain't where we going? No. We ain't going nowhere. Okay? And we're not going to be erased. I don't believe we take oppression. I believe we fight oppression. One more question.
So my question is, what inspired you to run for student body president? How was that process for you, and what kept you going when you achieved that?
Okay. Now, let me tell you this story, and I don't want you to say, "Oh, what?" In 1969, Indiana University had its largest fee increase to that point in history. Our fees went from about $129 a semester. Okay, stop laughing. $129 a semester to $319. Okay? Now, again, 1969. A lot of us thought that was the end of the world. That the university was pushing out poor students, and particularly black students.
Yeah.
And so a group formed what was called the United Student Movement, which was black students and white, working class white students to fight the fee increase. They did demonstrations and rallies around the state. And they ran two candidates, a brother named Mel Yancey and another brother named Fred Bullard, dear friends of mine. They ran them for president in that election, and they didn't win. And so in 1970, with the war in Vietnam raging, with fights for the creation of black studies departments, the concept of black liberation was a viable concept. The revolution was not on television, but the revolution was coming to television. People in USM decided to run two more candidates. And so I was a member of the Black Panther Party, and Michael King was a member of Students for Democratic Society, SDS. And so they said, basically, we're going to pull out all the stops. We're going to run two people that we know will fight this university. And so they came to me, and I didn't know Mike at that time, put us together, put together a campaign, and on March 19th, 55 years ago, we won. We had a clear message, we built a constituency, and we were successful. We didn't get sworn in until April 16th. Because believe me, there were challenges. Well, wait a minute, let's recount. Well, there's a guy that he withdrew. We should count his votes too. So my margin of victory wasn't huge. It wasn't a landslide by any means, but it was a victory. And so, bam, that's how it happened. And that year, I worked hard. I wasn't a good student at that point because I was busy doing other stuff. Should have been focused more on school. But there were more things I had to do and wanted to do. And so we looked and we said, the reason we created the Student Legal Services Program is that students had a hard time getting any kind of legal advice on tenant, rental issues, on just hassles in the stores. Bloomington was not a friendly town for IU students, believe it or not. I came here one time in 2011, and we were going to dinner someplace, and the guy that was hosting us said, "Well, we're going to go to this restaurant, and Keith, you know where it is. You can get there." And I said, "No, I don't know where it is. It's on the other side of town square." And not just black students, but white students didn't want to go on the other side of town square because then that's where the townspeople were. So that's why we did a student legal services program. You have a term now called food insecurity. We didn't know what that meant. We just knew people were hungry. So we did a food co-op in order to make sure students could come. You'd have to work and you'd get some food. There were a number of students that had children. They had classes. They can't bring a child to class. And so we organized the first daycare centers on campus. So we were not just about raising hell. We were about doing some work that benefited students. And I'm proud to say the Student Legal Services Program is 55 years old now. And that daycare centers are 55 years old now. You have food closets. I don't know if there are names for those that are more current than me. I'm proud to say that some of those things that we did beyond hell raising, some of those things still are in existence, are meeting student needs. So that sustained me. I had death threats, but you're 21. Do you think you're gonna live forever anyway? I had people ask me. I had Johnny Stancombe give me the card. But when I was an adult and a professional, and I had a beautiful suit and tie on, I was at the Capitol Club in Washington, D.C. with a senior member of Congress, and I came in, and I'm talking to the congressman, and a guy walked up to me, and he handed me a glass, and he says, "I want another drink." And I handed it back to him, and I said, "Give me a Diet Coke." Because I was still black, and I was still theoretically in an inferior position, and I'm supposed to go get this guy a drink. Now, that talks to me about how the racism sometimes is so ingrained, they don't even think about what they're doing. And if you told him that was a racist act, if I argued with him, if I fought with him, he thought I was crazy. He would have believed that. But no, go get me a Diet Coke if you're going. You've got to understand those things that in your career you're going to experience it. You're going to be in a meeting one day, I believe this, and you're going to make a great suggestion. And the discussion will go on. 10 minutes later, somebody else will make that same discussion, that same suggestion. And when that somebody doesn't look like you, all of a sudden, that suggestion is brain surgery. That's rocket scientists. And what you have to do, again, talking about leadership, you got to be an ally to that person. And you got to say, so-and-so said that 10 minutes ago. I've seen that happen to me. I've seen that happen to other people. And when I'm in the presence, when that happens, I will do that. Wait a minute. So-and-so said the same thing 10 minutes ago. What didn't you understand then? That's gonna happen. Your leadership is for you to be an ally for other people to reinforce why they're there. So, thank you again. There's nothing you can dream that you cannot accomplish.
Thank you, Keith, for that inspiring address. Your dedication to student advocacy and activism continues to resonate with us today. As a special thank you, we would like to present you with a small token of our appreciation.
The Thomas L. Atkins Living-Learning Center, thank you, Keith S. Parker. And it's a beautiful piece from outline of Indiana. Thank you so very much. Dr. Williams, thank you so very much. Whitney, thank you. Okay, now. This is old school. You never put a thorn between two roses.
That's nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, come to California.
All about time.
At this time, we'd like to take a moment to recognize a few individuals who have made a lasting impact on the Atkins LLC. These individuals have been instrumental in the success and growth of the organization and continue to inspire us today. Please join Dr. Williams and Whitney Humphrey in honoring those who have helped shape Atkins LLC into the remarkable community it is today.
Yeah. Thank you, ladies. My name is Whitney Humphrey. I'm the Associate Director of the Atkins Living-Learning Center. The Atkins LLC is shaped not only by its residents, but also by its incredible support and community of partners who have played a vital role in its history and legacy. From founding members to dedicated university partners and past directors, each of these individuals has contributed to the growth, impact, spirit of our community. Their commitment, collaboration have helped create the vibrant, supportive environment that defines the Atkins Living-Learning Center today. As we recognize each of them, we ask that they please come up as their name is called.
Thank you. All right. Recognition awards. First, foremost, but not least, Nancy and Richard Lorenz. Come on up. We want to thank you for your incredible contributions to Atkins over the many years, these 30 years. As a founding committee member, Nancy played a key role in shaping our community, while her husband, Richard, has been a steadfast supporter, always contributing in meaningful ways, both of them as a couple. Their dedication and commitment have left a lasting impact on Atkins LLC, and we are grateful for their continued support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's beautiful.
Don't you sit there, Richard. Come on up here, man.
And I have to open it in front of everybody. Okay. I want to say thank you all for coming today. This is the most wonderful thing. Thank you.
We are.
No, I'm not. I didn't do it. You don't know what?
Can't see.
Huh?
You need to look up.
Look. Oh.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Thank you. Can you read?
Well, I will.
Oh, so you have to. Can you read it for us?
Yes.
Please. There are two.
Oh, boy.
Can you read it?
It's for the Living-Learning Center, and it's,
Established 1994.
Thank you. Thanks, Whitney. You guys have done a wonderful job today. I mean, I started hearing about this a year ago, and it was a dream, right? And this woman has gone a long way. She's worked really, really hard. So I think we should give Whitney a round of applause. Thank you all. Thank you.
Next, we'd like to thank our other IU partners on campus. Come up in the order in which we announce your name. First, Mr. Cedric Harris. And your many contributions.
Thank you. Three guys right here.
Got it. Thank you.
You'd like to say a few words here, Cedric?
I just want to say thank you. And Nancy, actually, we were together when we first started this center. I was 29 years ago, 30 years ago. Atkins has been wonderful, always wonderful. So thank you for this.
Denise Gowen. Come on, Denise. Backbone of our LLC here.
Right here, guys. Got it.
And last but not least, Dr. Gloria Howell. And I want to thank also, who's not here, Dr. Sam Young, Dr. Patrick Smith, and Sam Young, and thank all of them for their invaluable support through mentorship and access and invaluable resources. They have helped our students thrive, making a continuing and lasting impact on our community. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Here at Indiana University. Today, Zach will be performing My Way in the style of Frank Sinatra.
And now the end is near, and so I face that final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I traveled each and every highway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do and saw it through without exemption. To think I did all that, and may I say, not in a shy way. Oh no, not me. I did it my way. Yes, there were times I'm sure you knew when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. I faced it all, and I stood tall and did it my way. I've cried, I've laughed and cried. I've had my fill, my share of losing. And now, as tears subside, I find it all so I'm using to think I did all that. And may I say, not in a shy way, oh no, not me. I did it my way. Y'all know this part. For what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not to say the things he truly feels, and not the words of one who needs